Ten.
Stand by to take studio.
8, 7, 6.
Stand by timer 1, mics 1 and 2.
3, 2, 1.
Take studio.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of MCTV News. I'm your host, Avery Pelletier.
And I'm Haley May. On today's show, my co-host, Avery Pelletier, brings us not just one, but two reports. One about the May-long weekend Cornhole tournament, and second, a look at Project Burgundy, how Project Burgundy unfolded on April Fool's Day. Our reporter, Grayson Misiuk, shows us the track and field team, and Jonathan Lamontagne brings us yet another episode on the John of all trades, this time about oil change. But first, here's our top story.
For English 30-1, making it an essential for most students looking to enter university after high school. In this course, students build their knowledge of the English language through novel studies, essay writing, and reading tests. From the study of Shakespeare to the study of film, students in this class learn to dissect and critically analyze text, as well as how to compose their thoughts in essays and short-form writing. Weston Stevenson brings us this report.
At MCHS, there's a large variety of classes in the higher and lower academic levels. One of those classes is Mr. Seaver's English 20-1 class. There's many different reasons why students enjoy this more academic stream for English.
I like the books that we study. They're pretty interesting.
I think it's really interesting discussing different literary techniques, the novels we're studying, Shakespearean text.
While some students may enjoy English 21, there are some things that make the class more challenging for some students.
I think there's a lot of critical thinking involved, and sometimes it's harder to get into that topic, but once you really start thinking critically, I find that it's not the hardest class.
Probably the writing. It's pretty challenging sometimes.
ORTs, their reading comprehension exams, those are really tough. And I think students nowadays, we're losing some of our vocabulary or our reading endurance, and those are challenging.
There's many different ways people thinking of joining the more academic stream for English can do to help prepare their mind for the challenging parts of English 21.
Don't fall behind with your work and just stay on top of things.
Just do it, challenge yourself. It's not that different from English 20-2. So it's just a matter of challenge yourself, and it's like, what do you have to lose? I mean, aside from failing the course, but odds are you won't.
Be organized, be able to do work on your own, ask for help if you need it. Continue thinking analytically, read as much as you can anytime before a class, but mostly stay on top of your work so that you don't get overwhelmed and lost.
English 20-1, yet challenging, is a good stream for those thinking of taking a more academic route later in the future. And Mr. Seaver is a great teacher for students who are good or are struggling with English. For MCTV, this is Weston Stevenson.
The May weather has been treating us decently so far, though some days have been a little windier than we may have hoped. Will the days of windbreakers and umbrellas continue, or will sunny days be here to stay? MCTV's very own meteorologist Haley May is here to answer that very question. Over to you, Haley.
Thanks, Avery. Now let's take a look at our provincial weather. It seems that things are heating up very dramatically. My ginger senses are scared. Whitehorse and Yellowknife are both at 14 degrees. However, Whitehorse is sunny and Yellowknife is rainy. Vancouver, Regina, and Winnipeg are all sitting at very sunny weathers, with 16, 15, and 20 being their respective temperatures. It looks like in Toronto and Montreal, it's getting very rainy, with their degrees being 11 and 14. Halifax, on the other hand, is seeing a beautiful sunny weather with 13 degrees. St. John's is raining at 4 degrees. And up there in Iqaluit, it is very sunny with a little bit of clouds and is sitting at 2 degrees. Now let's take a look at our provincial weather. Luckily for my ginger senses, it looks like things are a little bit more rainy. Over where we are, it's raining all over. Down here, and it's a bit more sunny. Over in high level, we've got 20 degrees. Fort McMurray is 16 degrees. Grand Prairie is 19. Edmonton is 16, and Red Deer is also 16. Jasper is also 16, however, it's sunny. Banff is just as sunny, but with a little bit of rain. So is Calgary, which is sitting at 15 degrees. Medicine Hat is at 18 degrees, both sunny and rainy. And Banff also looks like it's a bit rainy. Now let's take a look at our current conditions. Looks like our current conditions, we're sitting at 14 degrees Celsius. The wind is 2 kilometers per hour and is heading at all right, then this is our weather for the rest of the week. Back to you, Avery.
Thanks, Haley. On May long weekend, local cornhole league, Sturgeon County Cornhole, took advantage of the spring weather by hosting a cornhole tournament at Island Lake, Alberta. Nearly 100 people were in attendance, with some even walking away with cash prizes. I'll be bringing you all the details on the day's events in this next piece. For many Albertans, May long weekend marks their first trip out to the lake or campsite of the year. To kick off this new chapter of the year, local cornhole league, Sturgeon County Cornhole, hosted a doubles tournament dubbed Baggin' by the Bay at Island Lake, Alberta.
So we started thinking about doing a tournament at the lake here 3 years ago. So this year was our third time doing it. There's a lot of people around the lake here that volunteer their time, and it was kind of our way to do something that we have experience in, that we could contribute in that way.
Nearly 50 teams competed in the tournament, which consisted of a 4-game round robin followed by a single elimination playoff. Teams could choose to register in either the competitive or social bracket based off their skill level, and cash prizes were handed out to the winners of each. Despite these monetary prizes, it seems that the opportunity to spend time with fellow lakegoers was the biggest prize of all.
We try to, in a way, kind of keep it a bit of a secret from the league players. So it's, I would say, almost exclusively lake people that come out to play.
Seeing everybody here and seeing all the fun activities that's going on and the people that are having fun, that makes my weekend right there. I've been here every year that they've had the cornhole tournament, so it's been a very good experience.
Meet new people. We actually gain friendships from this actually. But yeah, obviously we come here to play, have fun, but always try to win, even when we lose.
Calling it our third annual tournament, so we plan on doing it every year. As long as people keep coming out and playing, we're going to keep doing it.
With friends, fair weather, and a whole lot of beanbags, this year's Baggin' by the Bay tournament proved to be another success for these local organizers. For MCTV News, I'm Avery Pelletier reporting. Here are your school announcements for Thursday, May 22nd. The town of Morinville is asking local students to submit a fine art, digital, or photographic design of a location in Morinville that can be used for flags hanging from the light post down Main Street. If interested, please send your design to Mr. P by June 1st. If you missed the GameCon presentation earlier this week and still want to attend, please see Mr. P by the end of the week to secure yourself a ticket. For these and all other school information, keep connected by listening to the daily announcements, logging onto the school's website at www.mchs.gsacred.ab.ca, or by following the school on Facebook, Twitter /X, or Instagram. As well, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by searching MCTV Morinville.
A couple episodes ago, we broadcasted the first half of our look at what has been dubbed Project Burgundy. It featured how the students of MCTV pulled an epic prank on one of the most experienced teachers in the school, Mr. Greg Bounenstein. In this second installment, Avery Pelletier shows us the actual prank itself and how it went down on April 1st.
Previously on Project Burgundy. I want to prank Mr. Bounenstein.
Get them in studio.
I'm trying to get them in studio. So
That would be wicked cool. That would be pretty awesome. And I would have to be fanboy and actually, because I saw them in concert.
I'm basically just emailing myself back and forth like a crazy person. Hey, I am finding wigs for the April Fool's prank. I mean, like super decide, but now it just looks so bad. Comb it a little bit.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Project Burgundy is tomorrow, so signing off for the night. You stay classy, San Diego.
And thanks for stopping by. Escape out of 9 in the 20-minute warning, and I am about to get Ron Burgundy-ified. In costume, I have the lipstick, I have the makeup, I have my hair done. This is the fit. I'm just going over my script right now. I'm so psyched. Liz, I can't even explain to you how stressed I am right now. Ron Burgundy, everyone. Oh, I look good. I mean, really good. Project Burgundy is a go.
We're here for an interview.
What? Hey, Ron Burgundy, how's it going?
Hello, how are you?
What are you guys
Ron Burgundy, KVWN Channel 4 News.
What?
I'm Veronica Corningstone.
Yes.
Co-anchor
You know what?
KWN.
You know what? I would say go something, but I better not say because it is a school, so I better, Fair enough. Okay, so you.
Do we have a studio assistant? Yes, thank you.
Yes, come on in. I don't know what's. I have no clue what's going on. I have no clue what's going on.
Thank you. Your name again? I'm Brianna. Brianna. Thank you, Brianna. Can I do some tongue twisters? It helps me get in the zone. Of course. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Mr. Burgundy, unique, New York. Unique, New York. Unique.
He's asking, is this an April Fool's joke?
I'm Veronica. We were called in here for an interview, so I would like to continue with that, please.
They're called in here.
Are we?
He has.
I would be very excited if I was on the air. It is my dream to be a network anchor.
He has very similar opinions as to your news
Your
station,
dream
so
of the world's nightmare, Miss Corningstone.
Okay.
Mr. Burgundy.
Great, you made me waste all this time. I get the fact that it's a practical joke, but how much time did I spend when we could have been doing something else? I was here till almost 5 o'clock last night doing stuff.
I'm gonna do my best. It's just, I think it was just a miscommunication. He thought somebody else was coming. I'm so sorry. I will be right back.
Welcome back. Joining us here today are two very special guests. These individuals are well versed in the television world and have traveled all the way from San Diego to join us in the studio today. I would like to welcome Mrs. Corningstone and Ron Burgundy from the KVWN Channel 4 News team. Thank you so much for coming out.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
So, all right, my first question is for you, Ron. I've heard that if it's said that if Ron Burgundy says it, it's the truth. What's that pressure like, and what is it like being such an icon to San Diego?
Well, thank you for mentioning icon status. I am an Emmy winner. You forgot to mention that, but I am a pretty big deal around San Diego. People know me, but pressure, no pressure. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever really doubted myself in my life. I mean, I've got many fine leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany, so what more is there for a man to want in life?
Wow, that's inspirational.
It really is.
All right, Veronica, you broke new ground as the first female news anchor in San Diego, and as a female news anchor myself, could you tell me more about the day that you were put on air for the first time?
Well, I always desired more challenge, and it just so happened Mr. Burgundy was occupied with a a personal tragedy.
Baxter!
Mr. Burgundy.
Baxter!
Mr. Burgundy,
I was driving my car and I was eating a burrito and I threw it and I hit the head and
Mr. Burgundy!
Let me say something! Let me say something!
Oh gosh.
You read my news!
I told you I wanted to be an anchor!
I thought you were kidding! I thought it was a joke! I even wrote it down in my diary! Veronica had a very funny joke today! I laughed about it the evening after!
All right. Moving on. Question for both of you. When you're not hosting a television show, how do you like to spend your free time, Veronica?
Oh, excellent question. When I'm not in the studio, I'm chasing down leads and practicing my non-regional diction, because to win is to be the best, the very best. And I am a professional after all, so I desire to take on challenges that will allow me to reach my full potential.
That's excellent. What about you, Ron?
Well, if I'm honest, I don't really get much free time. Sorry, I hope you don't mind.
Oh, it's okay. By all means.
Actually, so little free time that I have to sculpt my guns on the job. You see how the upper ubulus, it connects to the dorsal muscle. It's complicated stuff I wouldn't expect you to know, but that's about it for me.
Interesting. My final question is more of a request. You are both known for your iconic news signing off lines.
Oh, yeah.
Could you give us a little sample of that now?
Oh, of course. For all of us here at Channel 4 News, I'm Veronica Corningstone.
And I'm Ron Burgundy. You stay classy, San Diego.
And thanks for stopping by. April Fools.
You stay classy, San Diego.
April Fools.
Ron Burgundy, stay classy.
April Fools.
I'm gonna punch you in the ovary.
Really?
Yep, straight shot. Right to the baby maker.
Well, your hair looks stupid.
Really? Well, when in Rome.
That's not correct.
All right, I'm done now.
He's like a child, really.
Welcome back. Here with all your recent sports updates in the NHL, NBA, and MLB is MCTV's very own sports expert, Avery Pelletier.
Thanks, Haley. In the NHL, a devastating loss for Oilers fans across the city as they lost a 3-1 lead in the third period with the Dallas Stars scoring 5 goals, ending the game 6-3. They'll play each other again tomorrow at 6 p.m. for Game 2 of the conference finals. In the NBA, the Indiana Pacers skinned by the New York Knicks 138-135 in overtime, taking an early 1-0 lead in the conference finals. Both teams will move on to play each other tomorrow at 6 p.m. In the MLB, the Toronto Blue Jays crushed the San Diego Padres 14-0. The Arizona Diamondbacks lost to the Los Angeles Dodgers 1-3. The Mets beat the Red Sox by a score of 5-1. Baltimore doubled Milwaukee 8-4, and the Tigers beat the Cardinals 5-1. Coming up next, as the school year begins to slowly wrap up, track and field season is heating up. Reporter Grayson Misiuk brings us this look at the school's track team as they prepare for districts and possibly provincials.
This year, our MCHS track team will be competing in a variety of events like long jump for jumping, throwing events like discus, and all the running events. Let's see why some of our personal athletes chose their specific events.
I'm doing 1500 meter and shot put because I have good stamina and I have a good arm to throw the shot put.
I'm doing 100 meter, 200 meter, 100 meter hurdles, and the 4x1. And I chose them because I'm more of a short distance runner. I like to do short distance. I don't have the best stamina, but I feel I'm fairly fast.
What specific things are our MCHS athletes doing to gain an edge in competition?
Just make sure I take care of my body, make sure I stretch enough, and just like strengthen my hamstrings so I make sure I get the blocks as fast as I can so I get an edge over my opponents.
I'm eating a little better now just to hope to actually last, and I've been learning techniques to keep myself in a good pace and learn how to throw farther for a shot put.
Nothing in your hand now.
What do our athletes this year hope to achieve within track and field?
I hope to improve as more of an athlete and maybe get first in every event, and I hope to make it to zones and do good for school.
I'm hoping to get faster, to be a better athlete in general, and hoping to make it to the zones and stuff like that to hopefully do good.
Track and field can help athletes develop proper technique for things like running, which can easily translate to other sports. This is Grayson for MCTV reporting.
Welcome back. This year, MCTV News is celebrating its 30th anniversary on the air. Throughout the years, some MCTV students have gone on to pursue broadcasting and video production, not just as a hobby, but as a career. Jasmine King is an MCHS alumnus who spent 3 years on the MCTV crew, from seasons 21 to 23. After her high school graduation in 2017, Jasmine went on to study at NAIT's radio and television program, where she graduated in 2019. Jasmine has worked in newsrooms in Lloydminster and Kelowna, and in 2023, she joined the Global Edmonton staff as a digital journalist. Jasmine has a wealth of experience to share with us today, and we are thrilled to welcome her back to the studio this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jasmine.
Of course, happy to be here.
Great. All right, so I'd like to start off with my first question, which is, what got you interested in pursuing journalism as a career after high school?
Yeah, I think it started when I was younger, and I just had a kind of an interest in sports broadcasting, and I always kind of watched sports broadcasting growing up, and I thought, this seems really fun, like something that I maybe want to pursue one day, and then took this program, obviously took MCTV, and it was great. So then I went to NAIT, and just there I learned like how much like I really liked this industry and journalism and just being able to tell stories and talk to people. So after that, it just kind of kept going with it, and it's kind of led me to where I am now. So it's really just started there. I just really love, like, even though I was shy when I was younger, now it's translated into, I just love meeting people and telling people stories every day.
Yeah. And then how was that transition then from MCTV to NAIT when you first started off there?
Luckily, like, this class taught me so much background knowledge, and like I knew so much about editing and camera work, and even like the terms that we use at even at Global Edmonton, or we use at NAIT, I learned here. So it was really great, like, going into that type of program already knowing kind of what you're talking about and having some background to rely on, because otherwise, like, it can be a lot at first to really learn. So it was great to kind of have that little bit of like a leg up in a way and kind of know what I was talking about in that way.
Absolutely. Well, so right now you are a digital journalist at Global, so that's involving a lot of reporting. But right now this week you're also covering the 11 o'clock news. Do you have a preference between anchoring and reporting and being out in the field?
It kind of depends, because like I said, I really like telling people stories. So getting to go out and really talk to these people like one-on-one is really what I do enjoy doing, and like going to, maybe it's some type of fire and telling someone's story, or even going to the Oilers and going to the fan park. So I do like being out and not just, maybe sitting sometimes and being actually out there, but there also is advantages with anchoring, and it's a different skill set that you get to use, and it's fun kind of being that person behind the desk and sharing those stories with people that, we've got and worked all day on, and being able to be that person, and then also, interacting with other people throughout the show and everything. So I have to say I like reporting more, but I also enjoy anchoring as well.
So then, on the topic of telling stories, do you have a favorite story that you've gotten to tell while you've been a reporter?
That's hard. That's a hard one for me, because I feel like, there's been a lot, and like part of it I go down to just what was fun was, covering the Oilers, because of course they're my hometown team, but I've done this story about this, 100-year-old dad who was, out on a scooter with his 80-year-old something daughter, and they're going out and they're just, spending time together and having a lot of fun together. So it's stuff like that too, where you're really telling like that human side of things, and getting to talk to people about something different, and it doesn't always have to be serious, but at the same time, like talking to people after something like the Jasper wildfire and really hearing about how they're navigating all of that, and being able to share that with people across our province is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, You certainly have to be very versatile in your storytelling then. My next question is, so when we watch the news, obviously we see the reports you make, but we don't see the entire day's work that goes into it. So could you just take me through what a day in your career looks like for you?
For sure. So we head into work around just in the morning, and that's kind of when everyone's coming up with story ideas and pitches and saying, oh, maybe I want to cover this story today at City Council, or this is happening and this community is having a fundraiser or something, or people are displaced, I want to cover that. So then in the morning we all kind of get assigned different stories, so we get to kind of go and see what we're focusing on, and then it's either going to where these places are, or setting up an interview with people who are affected, or some type of expert to talk about what's happening. So just setting up interviews, just trying to make it work, and then going out, filming and talking to the people there, and then once you're done shooting all of that, you kind of come back and you start writing all of it. So then you're picking what sound bites you want to use for your story, and then just writing it out. And sometimes, like for us, we have to do different versions of the same story a couple times. So maybe you're writing your version for 5, or you're doing a live hit for one of them. So writing different versions of the story, and then just kind of hoping to get it all together as much as we can, and then send it, get it ready for editing and everything, and then have it on air by 5 and 6. So sometimes it can be really stressful depending on maybe your story doesn't work out at 9, or you get assigned to something at 3 and you kind of have to make it work. So some days pretty stressful, some days it can be really good.
That's something I never would have thought about before, is having to write alternate versions of the different stories. That's really interesting. So now that you've kind of given us a rundown of everything you do in your day, in this class we sort of try to emulate that in a way, obviously in a maybe slightly slower paced environment. But in this class we learn all about shooting, editing, and then running an actual broadcast itself. And you sort of touched on this earlier, but is there anything you can recall that you learned in MCTV that you still use to this day?
I would say like a lot of my base knowledge for what I do now really came from like this class and everything, because like I mentioned, you're learning like the basics of what different types of stories look like, or how to write something, or how to shoot it in a news type of way. So much of the base knowledge the skills you use every day, you use that in this class. As well as like, even though the programs are different, the editing that you do, you're still carrying that on now, however many years later. So a lot of the stuff, like I said, you learn here, you can really take forever and all throughout. And maybe it's not even necessarily just in news, but a lot of people I know who are still using these skills in a different way, like for a big variety of jobs.
Well, that's great to hear that we're well prepared.
Successful.
All right, my final question of this interview, I wanted to ask you, is there any important lesson you've learned, or any piece of advice that you'd like to pass on to maybe the people in this room that could be looking to pursue journalism?
I would say for sure, just, get the most skills out of things that you can. Don't just try and learn one thing, learn everything. And I think also what it took me a while to learn is, maybe you made a mistake, and in your head, of course, you think like, oh my gosh, I made this mistake, and people are going to think, X, Y, and Z, but you just kind of have to live with it and move on. And sometimes I don't even remember the mistake I made the day before, or even a couple hours later, because you just have to be like, yep, it happened, own it, and keep going. And of course, everyone's still learning, and we're all human, so you just have to get used to, you're not always perfect. So I think that's one thing before that I was like, you have to be perfect no matter what, but you don't. So I think just own your mistakes if you make any. Otherwise, just make the most out of it and try and build up every skill that you can.
I think that's a really great piece of advice, actually. I think a lot of people can resonate with that. So
100%.
Thank you so much for coming to talk with us today, Jasmine. We really appreciate your time.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Of course. Up next, our resident handyman, John Lamontagne, is back with another John of All Trades segment. This time, John will be teaching you how to change the oil in your vehicle. Over to you, John.
Regular oil changes are one of the most simplest and most important ways of keeping your vehicle running smoothly. Today, we'll be looking at what goes into an oil change and why it doesn't matter and how it's done. Before starting an oil change, we need to jack up the truck to get a better access to the oil. Once when the truck is jacked up, grab your floor jacks and place them under the truck in a sturdy spot. And don't forget to shake your vehicle because you'll be under that thing. Once when you're under the vehicle, grab your oil pan in the right socket, and if it's too hard to loosen the drain bolt, don't be afraid to grab a big wrench and use some leverage. When all your oil is drained, make sure to put the drain plug back in place and start pulling the oil filter out. Once when your oil filter's out, use a drop of old oil and lubricate the surface of the oil filter, then put the new one on. When everything is clear from under the vehicle, push the jack under the vehicle and slightly jack it up so you can pull the jack stands from underneath the vehicle. Then release the pressure from the jack and let the vehicle down slowly. To properly check how much oil you need to add, you'll have to search it up, because every vehicle is different. This vehicle takes 10 quarts of 5W40 oil. And that's how you do an oil change of 9% of vehicles. An oil change is crucial to owning a vehicle, because if you run your engine without any oil, you won't make it that far before your engine seizes. That's all for John of All Trades with MCTV News, signing off.
And that's it for another episode of MCTV News. Join us again for our next episode, where we will be bringing you a look at the recent junior high track meet held at MCHS, an update on how our track athletes did at districts, and tours of 2 local businesses, LWC Homestead and the Animal Wellness Vet Clinic. All this plus your weekly weather forecast and sports recaps on Thursday, May 29th. All right, so the dance is tonight, Haley. I know you and student council have been working hard.
Yeah, it took a lot of work. We even tried selling the tickets at first, but then one day the teachers all had like a meeting and they're like, why not make it free? And boom, it suddenly happened.
More the merrier.
Yep. From all of us at MCTV News, I'm Haley May.
And I'm Avery Pelletier. Thanks for tuning in.